All right, welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes With. If this follows suit with other episodes of 5 Minutes With, it'll probably end up being 15 Minutes With. But anyway, we're sticking with that title for now. But we've got one of our clients, Seth, on the show today. So thanks for joining us. If you're new to Digital Barbell, thanks for being here. Subscribe to our channel before you leave. We put a mix out of podcasts every week and then stuff like this, interviews with our clients to inspire you guys. So thanks for being here, Seth.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Seth and I have actually known each other since right around since 2012-ish, I'm guessing, 2011, 2012 in there. You were just a wee little boy back at the time. But we met through a men's group that we were in that was kind of related to a church group. And it was just a group of guys that were holding each other accountable for things in our lives and trying to become better spouses. At that time, you weren't actually even married. But that's how we got to know each other. So man, that was, how long ago was it?
12 years
I think
ago?
it's been a bit over 10 years. So you guys were at my wedding, so I think it would have been 2011 even.
Wow. Yeah.
12 years or so.
That's crazy. And you know, at that time, we were not as involved in fitness as we are now at all. And I don't think that you were either. Tell us a little bit about kind of your fitness journey growing up until the point that I met you.
Sure. My fitness journey growing up, I don't know if it was really marked by any sort of consistent commitment to fitness. So in high school, I tried playing football for a year, ended up having a pretty serious back injury, which took me out of football for the rest of high school. Started running a little bit toward the end of high school. But outside of that, man, it really wasn't anything that I could point to and say, I did this over an extended period of time. I was really stuck on this activity or anything like that. It's just like I would sort of, try out a different sort of exercise. Maybe we had a gym membership for a season. And so I would go into the gym and use the machines for a little bit, or I'd try running for a season, or I'd play football or whatever, but really nothing that, would last longer than maybe 6 months to a year. And sort of stuck with that theme really throughout my time in college. I wasn't really big into fitness or exercise consistently throughout college or through probably early adulthood either. And so, just dabble in things and then move on and really nothing to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, we had discovered CrossFit in around 2009, 2010, and one of our mutual friends, Anthony, also had gotten into it around that time. And am I mistaken, or did we kind of put you and maybe one other person through like a CrossFit style workout back in those early days?
Yeah, I think I was, if I should use the word suffered through, but definitely participated in a couple CrossFit style workouts. And that was actually really, it was really tough. I have to say, I don't know if I particularly enjoyed it at the time. Because for me, the movements were all new, which is just so funny to think about now, right? The movements that I struggled with so hard now, just how they're second nature to me, struggled so hard with back then, are so second nature to me now. I was also so sore, like the week or two following each one of those workouts. Like I could do one and then I'd be out for like a month.
Yeah.
So definitely dabbled with CrossFit a little bit with you guys and with the Higgins in those early days. I think I had a way more enjoyable of an experience when I went, when you guys opened Triad, and I did a couple workouts with you guys at Triad. But again, that wasn't, once every couple months or something like that.
Yeah. Leading to what you were saying, like back in I think it was like 2015, 2016, when you would drop in every once in a while to try it, and like thinking about then to now, like the way that even having the proper ranges of motion in just an air squat. And like now you're like one of our best, high bar or low bar back squatters. And it's just like, it's so cool to watch. I'm always like, this is one of my biggest accomplishments in coaching, is like coaching Seth through the squat. Like this guy has a perfect squat now. And it's so cool.
She's always pulling me over to her desk when she's reviewing your workouts. But look at this.
Look at this. I'm still like, years later, I'm like, look at how good his squats are.
It's you doing the work, but she was always like, look what I did.
I remember how you were squatting when you came in to try it, even just like an air squat. So it's so cool to see.
But I think we're jumping the gun though, because there's been a lot of things that have happened between that workout in the park that made you incredibly sore to becoming a big back squatter. Right. So let's talk about like kind of the identity side of things, because I think that's kind of a deeper running theme throughout your time working with us. You came to discover Digital Barbell. We lost touch for a while because you moved to a different part of the country, and we lost touch for several years. And then I think you saw through social media maybe that we were doing this new thing called Digital Barbell, that we had moved. What made you decide to jump into training with us at that time, and kind of like what was going on in your life?
Yeah. So really, I think where that part picks up is, so Stacy and I left, my wife and I left Texas back in 2017, moved to Virginia, the DC area. And, I was in a super stressful job there. And so I got a bit more, to sort of cope with the stress of the job, I got a bit more consistent with getting into the gym, but it still wasn't attached to any sort of programs. Like I'd go into the gym, do the typical 3 sets of 10 on the machines or whatever, making sure I was hitting most of the muscle groups. It really had no sort of plan or program that it sort of allowed me to see any progress, see any increase in strength or anything like that. I would just go to do it. Really it was just more so to get out of my head for a few minutes, do something that takes my mind off the work, stuff like that. And I remember, Johnny, I had left the office one day, and it's funny, I remember exactly where I was when you and I talked about Digital Barbell. So you and I, we'd been out of contact for a year or two. I remember us just having a short chat on the way home from work one day, and you were talking about this new thing that you and Blakely were doing, thinking about closing Triad and moving to this online coaching model for Digital Barbell. And as you were talking about it, I'm like, man, that sounds cool. I really would love to support that one day. I hope I get the chance to do it. See how things shake out. And so continued sort of working in DC for a bit. When the pandemic started, like things got even more stressful at work, and it was still sort of even more at that point counting on the gym to sort of be my stress relief. Finally, in about May of 2020, I left my job, moved back to Houston, and I think re-engaged with you guys around that time, and sort of got wind of the fact that, hey, I'm going to be at home probably for a while. And I've become so dependent on being in the gym consistently, at least being there consistently, maybe not doing consistent programming. Like I need something to replace. And I think that's when I reached out to you guys to start doing, I guess it was probably Body was the program you guys had there, whatever sort of your on-ramp program was back then. And so I think I started that in the summer of 2020.
Sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did you start working out at home during that time?
I did. Yeah. So I was thinking about that this weekend. So I started working out. So we were actually living with my parents while we were looking for a house in the Houston area. And so I literally started the workouts like with just random stuff I could find around the house, doing it upstairs in my parents' home.
I remember
doing
those
deadlifts
videos.
You
were like up in like a loft area, or you had a little pull-up bar and the door frame.
At the door frame pull-up bar, I had all sorts of like a mix of dumbbells up there and bands and stuff like that. I remember I ended up damaging their home one time by dropping the dumbbells during a deadlift. I think my best video, the first time you guys asked me to do air squats to target, I wasn't thinking, and I picked a flower pot as the target.
Yes. Did it survive?
It totally came down and crushed it. I mean, it was hilarious. So did that. Really it was really what I needed at the time. It was sort of getting me active again. Had some programming so I could focus on working out in the right way. Of course, I was limited by equipment and limited what I could do in my parents' home. And so did that program. Had some good results. Kept up sort of with your programming after that. We ended up, and that was probably over the span of, I guess, a year or so, something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And after that point, I figured, okay, I've done this long enough. I've seen good results. I've really come to enjoy it. I'm going to make sort of an investment, get a squat rack, barbell, plates, things like that. And so we moved into our new house, got all that stuff and got it installed. And I think it was the fall after that I did Built.
Yeah.
Your bodybuilding program. And that, quite honestly, was like a life-changing experience for me, being able to do that. So the program that I had done with you guys up to that point was good. I enjoyed it. It certainly was, certainly saw some results from it. But man, Built was just a style of exercise and activity that I felt like was just made for me, right? Like it was a chance for me to go out there. That was sort of my happy time during the day. I was still, dealing with some stressful work stuff and moving and all that. But like that was my chance to like be in a place of zen with a barbell. It's just something that clicked with me, clicked with my personality, really saw some fantastic results through that program. And that's really where I caught the bug, I guess. And Johnny, you referenced sort of the personality shift or sort of the identity shift that happened with that personality shift. that's really where that happened now, to where I started like, hey, I'm putting in the effort. I'm seeing these results. I actually really enjoyed doing this. I remember you and I talking about, falling in love with the process versus focusing on the goal. And that's really where I started to love the process, getting out there every day, doing those workouts, really focusing on getting the movements right, and just seeing some spectacular results as a result of that.
How did people around you respond to this kind of change in Seth, going from a guy who goes to the gym to kind of seeing you like dedicated to getting stronger and getting fitter as a tent pole in your life?
Yeah, I think it was surprising for a lot of folks. I think that, for my wife, I think she was happy that I found an outlet, something that sort of gave me the chance to better myself physically, but at the same time, like give me all the mental and emotional benefits of having a hobby, of having an escape. That was great. I think my extended family was surprised too, that, after knowing me for 30 years or so, all of a sudden they were seeing these changes in my physique and in my strength and stuff like that. And it became the thing that I talked about all the time. And so, yeah, I think it was well received. They were definitely supportive. Definitely had some questions from time to time too, but I've also seen some members of the family express interest now in doing similar stuff. So it's been good.
Yeah, I think we've seen in some of your form check videos that sometimes the family even kind of gets involved in the background and mimics you a little bit, which is not an uncommon thing. But I think that's awesome to see that, what you're doing and the emphasis you're putting on your health right now has the potential to kind of spill over into future generations of the little Seths out there. And Seth, that's, I don't know if you're done having kids yet or not, but
no, and that's been really fun and gratifying too. Is so it actually this came up this weekend. And so I have 2 young daughters, and they used to go out when I was at the gym and from a safe distance watch me and try to mimic the movements. And they hadn't done that in quite a while. But my wife was working out with some dumbbells this weekend, and my youngest daughter, who's about to turn 4, went in there and just like did a deadlift with the dumbbells. And they were like 10-pound dumbbells. It was funny to see her still, to see that had stuck with her, but also like her form was on point. Like it was great. So
That's great.
That's what we were wondering. That was the next question.
Yeah. So that's been really cool to see.
That's great, man.
That's great. Yeah. So you were talking about, back when you did body, squatting to a target using dumbbells only, you really didn't have much consistent barbell experience before you just dove in and was like, I'm going to invest and then I'm going to do this barbell program, right?
It really none. I mean, I had touched a barbell a couple times in high school when I was playing football, but that's it. I really had no experience on that. And you guys were so great about like really starting me at zero. And getting into, no, this is the proper placement. This is what the movement should look like. And so I feel like now I don't know if I consider myself an expert, but definitely I'm super comfortable. In fact, it's a bit of a drag when I go into a gym and I don't have a barbell to work with. But yeah, no, really started at zero and just sort of dove in and figured it out with the help of you guys.
That's really cool.
I think that's really interesting. I never really thought about it until just now, but you basically went from, except for the times that you came in to try out and from seeing other people in other gyms do different things, you went from not having done these barbell lifts, deadlifts, back squats, to learning how to do them in an online platform with an online coach. That's, pretty outstanding to see where your strength is at now, starting off with a couple dumbbells.
Right.
That's I
think
online coaching.
I mean,
that's a commercial right there. Timestamp that one.
I think the feedback that you guys gave me was invaluable, but I think too, just like the approach you guys take in wanting to educate, right? Above all else, make sure that your clients know sort of the greater why as to what they're doing. Not just like the safe way of doing these movements, but here's how it contributes to the overall goal you're trying to achieve. That's one of the things that was super attractive to me about your program and the way you guys approach it. I think that's why I've been able to sort of develop so quickly in this area.
That's great.
What's the biggest spillover that you're most proud of, and that being consistent with training has had on either your life, your family's life? Just the impact that it's had on your life in general?
I think for me, like I think it has to go to the emotional and mental health effects. Don't get me wrong, I'm super happy with the changes I've seen in my physique. But at the same time, thinking about what the last 3 years has thrown at me, I've been able to sort of navigate that with a sense of stability I don't think I would have had otherwise, simply because I had that outlet. I had sort of that place to go that was really a healthy way for me to take care of my mind, take care of my body. And it's made me such a better person in all the rest of the areas of my life. That's probably by far and away the number one spillover I've seen.
what's the thing you're most proud of in the gym that you've accomplished? A chance for you to brag on yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with my squat. So Blakely was talking about it earlier, but like it used to be sort of a running joke between us that I simply couldn't squat.
Yeah.
And I remember, Johnny, one day back when we were in Houston, like you and Anthony had it as your challenge of the day that you were gonna get me to do a proper squat. I think you were at the park or something. I'm not even sure we did it then.
We probably didn't.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad, guys. And for me to go from that to like comfortably moving the weight that I'm moving in a safe way too, like in a way, knock on wood, that hasn't led to any serious injuries or anything like that. Like to me, just the skill development there is probably the number one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. Last question is, you're moving some heavy weights now, both, squats and deadlifts. And I can remember back, when I was lifting heavy consistently, not that I don't now, but like you're thinking about your workout for the upcoming day and you start to think about the weights that you're going to lift. They're going to be a little bit intimidating. And then you get into the gym and you're warming up. You're like, this is feeling heavy. I'm about to have to do something really hard. Talk about that process of kind of doing hard things in the gym. And how you get through those times when you're about to do something that's going to be challenging.
Sure. I think for me, honestly, because this has become the thing that I enjoy, like I really start thinking about it and planning it, like when I plan my weeks on Sunday. And in fact, Blakely, you'll get messages from me, on Sunday about little tweaks and things. Cause that's when I go in and say, okay, this is how I'm going to fit, really it's fit my schedule around my workouts during the week, what this is going to look like. But for me in the morning, it's realizing it's taking some time to realize the importance of what I'm trying to do, to realize the importance of bringing sort of a focus there, especially on the safety part, Johnny, where I'm, not like bouncing all over the place and accidentally, put a foot the wrong way or something like that and hurt myself. Mm-hmm. But I think too, Blakely, in one of your earlier podcasts, you guys had a great line about, just the value of having a little bit of suffering mixed into your day. Mm-hmm. And sort of I love the line because it cracks me up. But, there are certainly times, in fact, I did it this morning on my, I'm having a rough morning this morning, had some work stuff come up and I had to cut my workout short and I was just tired. And I said to myself in that last set of squats, I'm like, this is going to be the hardest thing I'm going to do today. And like, let me do this, let me bring this energy. All I've got to do is move the bar 7 or 8 times and that's it. So let me, stop lounging around, just go in and do it and get it done and sort of check the box on the hardest thing I'm going to do today. And it's all downhill from there.
That's awesome.
So those are the little games that I tell myself in the morning, especially doing things like squat, like that's one that I'm 110% focused on. Same thing for bench, deadlift as well. But just, sort of respecting it for the value that it adds, the difficulty that it brings, and, telling myself it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Great,
refines you. I mean, that voluntary hardship makes you stronger and it refines you into a harder person.
Yeah, and just getting up every day knowing this is going to be difficult, but I'm going to step into that space, do it. And like you said, the rest of the day is like downhill. I love it.
Love it, man. All right, well, I don't know if we're at 15 minutes yet, but we'll wrap it up here.
I think we're close.
I know we're over 5, so. All right, Seth.
Yeah.
We appreciate you so much. We're super proud of you, and we're proud of not only the progress that you've made, but the example that you continue to set for your family. So we want to let you know that.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and thanks for everything you've done for me, and thanks for including me in your shift today.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Take care, y'all.
And